Okay, Paranormal Activity 3, guys. Some of you aren't going to be happy to hear this, but third time was a charm. Um, it's really weird, the Paranormal Activity series, because I was against it in the beginning, but I've seen them all, and like as time has gone on, I'm like, why am I really against it? Yeah, they pump them out real quick, and yeah, they're made on low budgets and make lots of money, but so what? How are the movies, you know? And I think like the first one, I didn't really like it that much. I don't know. I like it more as the series goes on, you know. And I think each one gets kind of better. I thought the second one was kind of better than the first one, and I thought the third one was actually quite good, and I thought pretty damn scary at points. Um, it's basically goes back to the '80s when the two sisters from the first two were kids, and it kind of shows how this demon or whatever started interacting with them. I'm not gonna say much more than that. I don't want to really give spoilers, but uh, so it's kind of like a prequel, uh, which you know might bother some people, but as far as prequels go, I thought it was good, and the kids in it, the two girls, they did a good job in the acting. I liked the parents in it, and the parents' one friend who comes over and suggests they start recording what's going on. I actually liked everyone in it. It surprised me. Um, basically, back in the '80s, this guy he must be some sort of like video editor or video geek or something because he's got all this equipment. But it's basically the mom's boyfriend. And one night they're like recording them about to have sex, and there's an earthquake. And as he's watching the footage of the earthquake, it looks like there's a figure, like an invisible figure, and then the dust like falls when the figure moves. Um, and then one of the girls, I think Christy or whatever, starts talking to Toby, her imaginary friend, who's not imaginary at all. And his friend's like, dude, you gotta set up cameras around your house. Maybe you could catch some stuff. Um, and right away he catches like his daughter gets up in the middle of the night and she's like talking to someone like that's like really close behind the camera, and it's just creepy. They come up with some good tricks in this one. The best of which is at some point they the mom's boyfriend Dennis, I think his name is, he decides to take apart the mom's like oscillating fan and mount a camera on it so that it'll like you know oscillate, like pan back and forth between the living room and the kitchen, and they get some really good scary tricks out of doing that. I enjoyed it. I mean, it's kind of like an old technique, but it's unnerving here the way this camera will just be moving back and forth real slow, and you're like, God, what are they going to show? Like, what? There's some definite, like, genuine scares in this. Um, yeah, I don't really want to spoil anything more. Not that you can spoil much of this. The stories in these are very simple, but it does kind of set up what happens in the first two movies and adds a little bit to it. Um, Interesting thing about this movie, which I had totally forgotten, it's directed by Henry Joost, if that's how you say his name, and Ariel Schulman. You might not remember those names. I do. I actually just saw this movie again. One of my absolute favorite movies of 2010 was Catfish. I gave Catfish like number two, right behind The Town. The Town was my favorite, and it's these guys. It's the Catfish guys. Um, Not Nev, but the other two guys that were recording Nev throughout Catfish. They are the directors of Paranormal Activity 3. Now I don't know what you know whatever Hollywood thought when they're like watching Catfish documentary and being like, and it is a documentary. I don't give a fuck what you say. It's a documentary. Uh, and the, and they're like, well, these guys would be great to direct Paranormal Activity 3. Well, they turned out to be correct, and they did a good job. I really, like I said, there were points in this one where I was like, what are they going to show next? Like, and it's never anything. That's what you gotta give these movies credit for. They're low budget, but they're going for just scares. Like, I don't know how you can hate the movies when they're just going for scares. Like old fashioned, like things that would scare you in real life, like a light going on in the middle of the night, like a sound in the house, you don't know what it is. There's very little in the way of like gore or violence in these, although there is some violence in this one, and it is pretty awesome. But it's just going for really basic scares, and yeah, they're cheap tricks, some of it, and you know, just don't know how you can hate them. I mean, you could probably hate them because like they can pump them out so quick and not add much to them, and they're making all this money and shit. But whatever. I'd rather have these out every year than a new Saw movie. Like those Saw movies got really tired after a while, and these movies, if they keep getting better as they have for the first three, then I'm not going to complain anymore until they start sucking. Honestly. But anyways, I thought that the directors of Catfish did a great job, carrying on the franchise and expanding it, and they did good enough. Apparently, I'm not the only one that thought it. It got decent reviews, and it broke records again, like the first two did. But this one it was more successful than the first two, and the same, Henry Joost and Ariel Schulman are back for the fourth one, which is, sure enough, will be coming out this Halloween. And you know what? It might be the first one I go see in a theater because I enjoyed Paranormal Activity 3 a lot. There is an interesting low budget horror movie also coming out this year that I heard that was like a real big hit at Sundance called VHS. And I guess it's like a horror anthology. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. I've been looking into it, but wonder when they'll release that because I've heard really good things about VHS. But will they pit it up against Paranormal Activity 4? I wouldn't. I would put out VHS in the summer or spring. But anyways, that's besides the point. Paranormal Activity 3. It's scary. It's better than the first two. It continues to improve on it. And it's a nice setup to the series. I'd be solid three out of 5 stars. Um, yeah, we've kind of seen the same trick now a couple times, but they add enough here, and the oscillating fan shit. And there's a couple scares that stick out that I won't forget, like where I kind of forgot stuff that happened in the first two. There's a few big ones in this that you know, I'm not gonna give away, but I'm gonna remember them. I know because they're just fucking nuts. One in particular with the oscillating fan, I thought was great. And they're using a little bit of special effects this time, so they're still making these movies cheap, but they're adding more and more special effects as it goes along. And they did, with the little special effects they use in this, they did, I thought, some very cool scares. Look at me, I'm smiling about it. So, anyways, I say give it a shot. Even if you haven't even seen the first two, you can just watch this. You don't need to know, because it takes place before the first two, so it ain't gonna mean that much that you don't know. Maybe you'll go back and check them out after this one. But this is easily the best, I say. So solid 3 out of 5 stars. I'm going to quit rambling and shut the fuck up. But check out Paranormal Activity 3. I never thought I'd say it, but yes.